show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today I was talking about the end of civilization in Europe, the white Christian civilization, because of the EU and the UN have fully forced a genocide on Ireland and the rest of Europe. We are living in what I've been saying before is, do this, do that. You're too late. We are being flooded. There is not one person in our government who has any intention of stopping this. Now, as the Syrian government call for his people to return to build their country, and apparently the Syrian people are returning in big numbers, and the Syrian government troops defeated the rebels who controlled and were attacking mainly Christians in Christian villages and towns. They're returning to build their lives. And ask yourself a question. Why is Ireland being flooded? Syrian war is over. They're returning home. And when they say they're Syrian families, they are North African men's. You've been lied to. And it's scary, guys, unless you get out there and you stop. Because the propaganda, fake news has this lovely people on. And they're saying how wonderful Ireland is. The reality is most of these people in these hotels that have been flooding Ireland are North African men. They're here to take over with the government's help. The only way to stop this is that we get out, all of the government out, and we get out of the EU. Because it's the Irish government who are putting us in this situation. Ireland contribute 2 billion to the EU budget in 2070. Where 1,087 billion for the period of 2000 are going to be from the period of 2014 to 2020 is given from them. Governments call for the Irish community, Irish government, Leo, the rent boy for the EU, disgusting, horrible hatred for the Irish, calls for a sponsor refugees family. So he wants us to sponsor refugee families. Now, when you get these families in, don't be surprised when that 12-year-old Syrian boy is a 20-year-old North African male, Muslim male. This is scary and a disgrace. And this is to do with the UN migration in action, that pact that they signed over Christmas. That barely was said anything on the media. This is what this is about. It's in action. The destruction of Western countries and cultures. Media uses the term families and uses pictures of cute kids. In reality, they're all men, Muslim men, fighting age. War is over in Syria. It's time for them to go home and build their country and their community with Assad. Wicklow was told that they would receive Syrian families. Of course, they turned out to be Muslim men of North Africa. Irish people are being replaced through the EU and the UN with the assistance of the entire Irish political system. Entire Irish political system. We are being replaced. The indigenous people are being replaced by North African and Middle Eastern men. Ireland will be a black Muslim country with no Celtic or Irish blood. This will be in our lifetime. It's absolutely scary. It's more than scary now. The genocide has been called for. We are living in the last days of where you will see white Christians. And not just white Christians, Irish indigenous race, the ancient Irish race. We are living in the last days of it. It will become a Middle Eastern, North African Muslim country. And that's in the next 20 years. But before that, our voices, anything that's conservative, is going to be shut down. And this EU army is going to stop us. Have a look at Poland under communism and socialism. We're heading for that. You will not be allowed to speak out, talk about anything that the EU do not want you to talk about. And the UN Migrant Pact was one of them. That was part of the thing. You couldn't speak out about these migrants coming in because they're all North African, Eastern, Muslim men into your country. And you won't be allowed to speak about it because they'll tell you lies. They say, oh, it's all cute families. And there's no families. They're all Muslim men. And they're here to replace us. This will be a black Muslim country. It is a very unbelievable, scary time. And unless we get out that government, our first job is to take out those governments. And as I said before, there's a lot more of us than there is of them. If we get all of them out, however you get them out, but get them out before any more damage is done, all of them, and we get somebody in for the Irish indigenous population, and then we send all those so-called refugees back on the ships, back onto wherever they're back, and we get out of the EU, we disregard however we can the UN Pact, but we certainly don't comply with any of it. This is our destruction. This is a genocide our government signed up for. And that is why they do not want you talking about it, because it is your genocide. You're not allowed to talk about your own genocide. It is a disgrace. It's absolutely shocking. Again, thank you for listening on The Bonnery Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today was quite shocking. I'd like to have a more positive, but sorry about that. It's just, there's no positive stuff coming out of that. We are very much underway. I don't even know if we have 20 years. That UN Migrant Pact has already been enforced and it's in place. They're not refugees and they're not from Syria. Syrians' war is over. They're going home. But none of you know this because you're all watching the bullshit Irish media. The war is well over. They're going home. We're not being replaced. Not that we should be replaced by anybody. We're replaced by North African, Middle Eastern men. And they're not just a danger. They are a danger to their own women and their own children, but they're a danger to Irish women and children. This place is going to be a third world country within a few years. The economy is going to crash. As it is, we're in a bad shape. After Brexit, our government have done nothing but throw thorns into the British side. They have done nothing other than that. This country will collapse. And those so-called migrants, economic migrants, they don't work, they don't even speak English, are going to riot. This country is going to be a war zone, and the Irish indigenous population are going to be persecuted like any other Islamic country. When Islam comes in, it takes away everything. It clears, wipes the slate. There will be no such thing as white, indigenous, Irish, Celtic race. The Muslim community will kill them once they become a majority, and that will happen very soon. We have the highest number of ISIS in this country than any other country in Europe. We're in a very bad shape, and it's getting worse. Thank you again for listening on The Bonnery Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.